My name is Alara, and for a significant portion of my professional life, my workplace was not just a place of employment, but a battleground. It was a place where my ambition was constantly tested, my patience pushed to its limits, and my very sanity questioned by a woman who embodied the most toxic aspects of office culture, a Karen in every sense of the word. This isn't just a story about workplace drama. It's about the slow, agonizing buildup of injustice, the meticulous planning of a counterattack, and the profound satisfaction of watching a bully finally face the consequences of their actions. I had always been an ambitious individual, driven by a desire to excel and make a tangible impact. My career path, until that point, had been a steady climb, marked by consistent effort and a genuine passion for my work. When I joined this particular company, I was filled with optimism. The role was challenging, the team seemed vibrant, and the opportunities for growth felt limitless. I dove in headfirst, eager to prove myself and contribute meaningfully. For a few blissful weeks, that optimism held strong. I was learning, connecting with colleagues, and truly enjoying the rhythm of my new professional life. Then she arrived, or rather, she became unavoidable. Her name was Brenda, though in my mind, and soon in the hushed whispers of the office, she was simply the Karen. Brenda wasn't my direct supervisor, nor was she in any position of authority over me. We were technically peers in different departments, our work occasionally intersecting. But from the moment our paths truly crossed, she made it her personal mission to insert herself into every aspect of my professional life, not to help, but to control, criticize, and ultimately to undermine. It started subtly, as these things often do. A helpful suggestion about how I should phrase an email, even though my version was perfectly professional. A lingering presence by my desk as I worked, ostensibly observing my process, but truly just scrutinizing. Comments veiled as compliments like, "That's an interesting approach, Alara, though I usually find X method more effective," delivered with a saccharine smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. At first, I dismissed it. New colleagues sometimes try to establish dominance or offer unsolicited advice. I tried to be gracious, to assume good intent, to deflect with politeness. "Thanks for the input, Brenda. I'll keep that in mind." But the input never stopped. It intensified. Soon, Brenda's presence became a dark cloud hovering over my cubicle. Every time I saw her approaching, my stomach would clench. Her voice, a high-pitched drone, would send a ripple of dread through me. She began to interject herself into meetings where my team was presenting, offering corrections or clarifications that were often just her rephrasing my points or outright contradicting me in front of senior management. The most infuriating part was her uncanny ability to present my ideas as her own, often just minutes after I had voiced them. I'd propose a new strategy for client outreach, and 10 minutes later, Brenda would chime in. "I think what Alara is trying to say, and what I believe would be most effective, is to implement a new client outreach strategy that focuses on..." And then she'd repeat my suggestion almost verbatim, basking in the nods of approval. The emotional toll was immense. I found myself second-guessing every decision, constantly replaying conversations in my head, trying to anticipate Brenda's next move. My once vibrant enthusiasm began to wane, replaced by a gnawing anxiety. I started to dread going to work, the once exciting challenges now overshadowed by the constant threat of Brenda's interference. My productivity, though still high, felt like a constant uphill battle against her subtle sabotage. It was like trying to run a marathon with someone constantly tripping you, not enough to make you fall, but enough to slow you down and chip away at your spirit. Things took a darker turn when Brenda escalated her tactics from mere annoyance to outright attempts at character assassination. She started complaining about me to our mutual colleagues, twisting my words, exaggerating minor issues, and painting me as incompetent or difficult to work with. "Alara is just so disorganized," I overheard her tell a coworker one day, completely fabricating a scenario. "She missed that deadline on the Miller project, you know?" This was a blatant lie. I had delivered the Miller project ahead of schedule. The whispers started to spread, and I could feel the shift in the office dynamics. People who were once friendly began to give me wary glances, their smiles less genuine. The isolation was palpable. It was at this point when Brenda tried to actively damage my professional reputation and even jeopardize my job that a switch flipped inside me. The fear and frustration transmuted into a cold, determined resolve. I realized that politeness and passive resistance were not enough. Brenda wasn't just a nuisance, she was a predator,
and I was her prey. I had two choices: let her devour my career or fight back with everything I had. I chose the latter, and I decided I would fight with evidence.
My strategy was simple, yet meticulously demanding. Document everything. I became a silent observer, a corporate detective in my own life. Every email Brenda sent me, every email she was CC'd on where she tried to take credit, every meeting where she undermined me, every conversation I overheard, it all went into a meticulously organized digital file. I created a spreadsheet with columns for date, time, incident description, witnesses, if any, and the emotional impact. Screenshots of emails, dates of meetings, specific quotes, even the timestamps of when I submitted my work versus when she claimed it. Nothing was too small to record. It was exhausting, emotionally draining work, often carried out late into the night after a full day of enduring Brenda's antics. My phone became my silent accomplice, ready to record brief audio snippets of conversations or capture quick photos of whiteboards where she'd erase my name and write hers. This period of documentation was a lonely one. I couldn't confide in many colleagues, as Brenda had already sown seeds of doubt. My partner became my sounding board, listening patiently to my daily recounting of microaggressions and outright lies. Their unwavering support was a lifeline, reminding me that I wasn't crazy, that my feelings were valid, and that I was doing the right thing by preparing my defense. Each piece of evidence I collected, no matter how small, felt like a tiny brick in a wall I was building, a fortress against Brenda's onslaught. Then came the big project. My manager, recognizing my consistent performance despite the underlying tension, entrusted me with a high-profile initiative. It was a multi-month project, critical to the company's annual goals, and a significant opportunity for me to showcase my leadership and strategic skills. I poured my heart and soul into it. I worked long hours, collaborated with cross-functional teams, and meticulously planned every phase. This project was my chance to shine, to finally escape Brenda's shadow. Of course, Brenda saw it as her chance to destroy me. As soon as she learned of my involvement, her interference escalated dramatically. She would offer to help, then subtly change important details and share documents, causing delays and confusion. She'd review my presentations and suggest edits that would fundamentally weaken my arguments or obscure my contributions. One particularly egregious incident involved a critical client presentation. I had spent weeks crafting the perfect deck, refining every slide, rehearsing my delivery. The day before the presentation, I found Brenda in the conference room, making unauthorized changes to my slides, adding her name as a co-presenter, and inserting sections that were clearly designed to diminish my role and highlight hers. I caught her red-handed, her fingers flying across the keyboard, a smug look on her face. When I confronted her, she feigned innocence, claiming she was just